Hello, welcome along, welcome back. Nigel with you, Nigel's Modelling Bench, and here we are now with part 11 of this Italeri Stratos build and body mods and everything. As you'll know, if you've watched me doing parts 1 through 10, we've done some brake mods and suspension mods, but generally this has all been about bodywork. You'll know that I've been completely going outside of the instructions build plan and doing my own thing. So one of the biggest disappointments with this kit is these rear arches. I've already done a lot of modification to them, and as I explained in part 10, one of the biggest problems I think with them, they should have basically moulded it as one because these are all blended and everything, but they decided to make a standard body and then have these bonded on. But the trouble is, when they bond them on, they fare them in, unless you've got the other type group 4 arches, which are just, well, they're still blended in, but basically they should have, I mean, it had to be slide molded anyway to get the sides, so there'd be a seam here. So whether they didn't make new slide molds for the sides with molded in arches, I do not know. Obviously just cost reduction. So basically the biggest problem with these is they are convex on the surface. So in other words, they exaggerated, they come from here and they bulge out the radius, and they should be straight so that they can be blended in. So basically what I've done is come along with a pencil, okay, and make a load of lines, and then with a fairly coarse, this is a 220 grit hard zebra stick. Don't use a sponge, you need something hard. What we're going to do is just get it so that it's flat, and as you can see I've already done this side, and what I want to do is get the whole surface to be flat. Now you can see here at the front, if I put a straight edge on it, if I can grab a straight edge, I use this wooden stick, you can see here, you can see that that is got a convex radius on it, the same as here on this panel. That should be straight and then blend up. Okay, so what we're going to do is sand all this out. And you can see I've got a line here. This is where I was going to cut it and bring it down, but I've discovered there's no need. What we can do is just sand it away and then backfill from behind, and you can see here this now is straight. You can see what I'm talking about this bulbous part sticking out here. Now somebody commented in part 10 talking about the fact that sometimes we have to put up with poor fits and it's just about sort of modelling to get around it. This is nothing to do with poor fits. To be fair, the fit of these parts is absolutely fantastic. It's just they look wrong. They're the wrong shape. It's nothing to do with poor moulding or bad packaging or anything like that, which this guy mentioned in his comment. It is badly designed parts that are just the wrong shape. So that's what I've done there. I've gone round so this is all nice and straight. So you can see here, if you look at the front of this arch here, you can see that that is straight. And then we've got a radius, so we can basically use this stick to blend in. You can see here we have a little bit of a rock. So what I can do here is come along with a pencil. Okay, just make some lines. Use a pencil, not a pen. If you use pen, it kind of gets ingrained into the plastic, especially when it's this coarse, and it comes back through your paints and everything. Now we can sand here, and you can see that when I'm sanding, the middle's cleaning up but the outside edges aren't, so I'm just going to keep going. And notice I'm not using a sponge. Okay, I want everything to be flat. I'm just going to keep sanding until all the pencil lines disappear, and then I know that I may have made a lot of flats. It may not be perfectly round, but what I'm trying to do here is get the basic shape, which is what you would do if you were working on a real car, making wide wheel arches with filler and stuff ready to make a mould. You'd be making the buck basically. So once again, get the pencil on there like that, or you could spray it with paint if you want, but you'll probably just clog your sanding sticks up. You can see there we can just sand until all of the pencil is gone, and you can see that we're basically making a flat arch. Now this is not trying to make the flat arch, which is the other type of group 4 arch I showed you. What this is trying to do is get it flat and then it will blend in. So rather than blending in and then coming out and back round, it's going to be straight and blending in. Okay, so there we are. I think Italeri have made them too bulbous, to be honest. And you can see there, you know, this is straight. You can see there the wrong shape here. And if you remember in part 10, I've put a cut down here. And once this is dry, and this is only about 3 or 4 hours after I made part 10, so it's not ready yet. But what we'll do, we'll cut that off, we'll cut that section off, and then we'll taper it down so that at the top it blends and then it tapers down. It's out far too much here. This is not the right shape. It should come down in a sort of radius and then almost in a straight line, but we'll sort that out. So I'm not going to cut these rear arches. What I am going to have to do, you can see here I've sanded it basically down to nothing. So I'm going to have to put something in behind there just to stiffen it up, just to give it some, you know, just some rigidity. It doesn't need to be like mega strong or super powerful or whatever. It just needs to be flat. So what we'll probably do is put some plastic card in behind there, run some super glue in or something like that, just to give it a backing. You know, we could always, if you wanted to, drill through there and put some plastic in. We could put some sprue glue in there. Trouble is, with this being so thin, the sprue glue may melt it. So how did I get to that? Right, so you can see here on this side, you can see that we got, there's our modified side with it nice and flat, and this side here is all radius to matching. So what we're going to do is get rid of that radius. So I'm going to get my pencil and I'm going to make some pretty serious marks. Okay, and then once again, you see this, it's a horrible shape here. It's got like it goes over and it's got a kick in it, but much like here, and it's just all awful. So what I'm going to do is just use my sanding stick to get this area here flat. You can see we've got pencil there, we've got pencil up here. Remember, we've got to try and keep the radius there. You know, we don't want to go putting a massive flat in the wheel arch there. And you can see here this corner, the pencil won't take on it very well. What about a different pencil? There we go, that's better. So you can see, don't be tempted to try and sand away that pencil at that corner. Just stay on the flat so you can see that as I come around this radius, you can see this area here is not being touched. But I'm keeping the sanding stick tight up against the top. I want it to be basically dead straight from there down, but keeping the radius on the wheel arch. I heard something crackle. I hope nothing's going to go and break on me. You can hear how much I'm taking off of here. Get some more pencil on there. You can see we're nearly there. Just going to keep going. Just keep the radius going. I've probably gone a little bit low there, but that's okay. That can all be blended out. Alright, and then you see that when we shut this down, you can see now we're in the same situation as on the other side, where we've got this bulbous radius sticking out here and here, so we can actually make our little forward arch part fit nicely. So we'll get the pencil once again. You can see we're taking plastic off here, but there's nothing being touched there, so you can see we've still got more to go. This is crazy, isn't it? You've gone out, you've spent 200 odd quid on a kit, and you've got to do this to it to get it to look like. You may be happy with the way it looks out of the box, and if you are, then I'm happy for you, because I wish I could be. But I think it looks bloody terrible. If they'd released this as like a safari kit without the wide arches, it would have been absolutely lovely, because as a model kit it's lovely. It's just the moulding has let it down, and this bloody design of these rear arches is a joke. can see we're just trying to keep this radius on there. That'll all get blended out. It's all going to get a thick coat of primer and blending and sanding and all sorts, so we're not really too worried. We're just getting the rough shape. Clean the sanding stick off. Just keep coming round. As you can see, really thin in that area there, but that's okay, we can sort that. It's amazing how strong those hinges are, isn't it? Probably going to regret saying that. Just keep going over the top. Keep staying on the flat. And we'll get our pencil on the back here as well and do the same. As you can see there, look, great big lump in the middle there. It's taken that off straight away. I don't know if you can see that, but a great big lump there, which is incorrect. From what I can see, this body line here should follow out a little bit. We can always do that with some filler. Okay, and I'm just going to keep sanding because you can see here we've got a bit of an edge on this wheel arch, and I want to keep that edge going. So what I'm going to do is just keep sanding on here. To A, get this area here straight, and B, as you can see here, put a little bit of an edge on that wheel arch. Again, get the pencil, make some marks. You see it's still not flat. I think this side is a lot softer than that side, because it seems to be a lot more difficult to achieve that edge that I was achieving. There we go. I think I've managed to achieve a little bit of a flat spot there, but that's okay, we can always repair that. Whoops. Again, get right into that corner. There we are. So you can see there the sort of work we've got to do to get these front sections, these arches sorted out. And now, as you can see, we've got a straight edge. You can see it's still not perfectly flat, but we're getting there. So I'm going to get some more pencil in there, do some more sanding, get it all done. And then I'll come back and show you how it looks. You can see there's still a bit of meat to come off of here. See, we've still got a pencil line there, look. Right, see you back in a minute. Okay, a few days have gone by, and as you can see, we've still got these sanded flat here, so we've got a nice flat line down there. I added a bit of sprue glue to this lower corner because I'm not sure if it was the mouldering, if it was me. It was probably me. But it seemed that corner was sort of tapering in, so it's looking like it's sort of sticking out now. But I think what we'll do is blend all this in once we've got it all done. But basically you can see now this misshapen piece here, it's coming down, it's way too fat here. I think it's supposed to sort of come down more, you know, like a thinner section at the bottom, like the back does, you know, sort of come down to a thinner section at the front and then be blended in with a concave radius sort of coming out to a lip. So you know, I'm saying that it will be straight and then it's concave where it's blended in. So this is going to be concave here, this will remain straight, but before it was convex. But as you can see, when you look here, you can see that this part of the arch where I've sanded it is straight and that one there is convex, and that's what I want to get rid of. So what we've got to do is remove this tape. In fact, I'll leave that tape in place for a second. I'm just going to grab my tweezers and remove these brass pins. So we can pull that out of there and stick it back under the tape. Pull that one out of there and stick that one back up under the tape. There we go. And we can come over here and there we are. Take that body away. So you can see down here now we've got a nice straight front section. You can see I've put some plastic card and some super glue in there to back it up because it's got very thin in the middle, but everywhere else I think it's going to be okay. So there's that. Okay, so now what we're going to do is finish with these. So if you remember, the purpose of gluing these on was to get this joint here, and I've put some sprue glue down in there which will help. So what I'm going to do now is with my saw I'm going to finish off these cuts. If you remember, I put these cuts in here, so I'm going to finish those off just like so. We'll just slice through there. There we go, that's that one gone. And then down here, just going to pull this out so I can get the blade in there. I'm not sure if the cement is actually capillaried along on here and glued the bottom in. It looks like it may have done actually. Yes, it has. That's unfortunate. That's okay. What we can do is see if we can get a knife behind there. It probably won't have glued it very solidly, he says. That's really unfortunate. I was thinking it may have capillaried along there, but I wasn't intending it to go all the way along there. So the best thing to do here is to come along with some extra thin. Okay, I'm going to hold that away so it doesn't capillary up the body any further. I'm going to put some extra thin into there. And that will get into that joint and it will make it come away. You can see how easy it is now to slide the knife behind it. We do have a thin tapered edge. All of this is going to be sanded and blended and filled anyway. Just try and cut away there with the knife. Cut some of that away. Yeah, that is really unfortunate that's gone like that. Should be able to cut up there with a knife. And also cut down here. I'll get the rest of this done because it's going to take a little while for this glue to work, I think, and then I'll come back. Alright, that was fun. It actually broke into two pieces, but we got it off. As I say, none of this matters because this is all going to be sanded and blended. We have to be careful not to take away that detail on there. But there we go. So we got that just that part of the arch remaining now. So what we're going to have to do here, I think, is slit down here and bend that in so that when this goes on, it kind of sits in with that straight bit on there. So what we'll do, we'll have a look at the other side because I've got a feeling the other side hasn't glued. No, it hasn't. So this is how it should have gone. Now what I like to do, I won't edit this video because I like to show you warts and all because not everything always goes right. So what we'll do is we'll do this side and I'll just show you this is how it should have been. If I'd have done this side first, then you wouldn't have had to put up with that painful bit you just had to watch. But we'll just get the saw down in there and just cut that last little bit out of there. And then we should be able to just pull this away, just like so. There we go. And that's how it should have gone. Right, so you can see down in behind there, you can see there's some sprue goo. If you can make it out, there's some sprue goo down in there, and that should help to solidify things. So I'll leave it taped at the bottom. So what I've got to do now is somehow get this to go in. Now if I just bend it, I run the risk of snapping it off from here. So what I think I'd rather do is give it a gentle cut. I'm not sure if that's going to be enough. The other trouble with just bending it, it's likely to want to bend back. So you see I hold that body on there, you can see it's much better, but it will just keep coming back out. So what I think I want to do is just lightly score the outside. Now would I be better off scribing the inside if I can get in there? What's that? Okay, so I've got this MRP Mr. Scriber, which is quite a small section. So you can see what I've done is managed to scribe the inside, and I've cut a wedge out of it. I'll show you on this side what I'm going to do. So I'll get down as far as I can into the corner. I'm just going to scribe up. I should have done this before if I'd have thought of it. So if you're doing this, scribe this corner out before you fit this part, and then it'll make it a lot easier for you. So we just scribe out a section of that, and that makes it a lot easier to fold. It doesn't matter if you go through, because it's all going to be filled and blended and everything anyway. Like I say, I wish I didn't have to do this. Italeri really have cocked up here. I've had a few comments from people who actually own the real cars, and everybody's saying the same. It's like they've gone for the flat arch look, which apparently is the later arch, which is the flat one, but they've gone with the form of the earlier, because it's a 77 car. So yeah, it's a real shame. They've really messed up on this. I know I keep repeating myself, but it's such a cock up. It's inexcusable, really. Right, so now that will bend in quite easily, and it should stay there. And what we can do is just bend the top out to sort of straighten it out in section a bit. And we can bend that in, and then with sprue goo and stuff in behind it, again, we're going to be in the realms of hours and hours of drying time. But I think down here what I'm going to have to do, get this tape off, I think I'm going to have to cut the outside, or at least score the outside, to make it want to bend. There you go. As you can see, as I bend it, it's opening up that little groove. But again, you know, super glue, sprue goo, whatever, get in there and there we go. I've actually gone through there now. We're back. Sorry guys, the camera battery went. So that was a lot on this bloody thing. It's a Sony ZV-1, and I wouldn't recommend it to anyone. It's not a very good camera. It has very little internal storage. A lot of people say the microphone's crap, but I don't find that. I never have problems. You know, I never have people telling me there's problems with the sound. Yeah, it doesn't actually. They will tell you it does, but it doesn't actually charge the battery while it's running. So it's plugged into the computer via USB. But while you're actually recording like I am now, it's not charging. So if you're doing stuff like photo etch, for example, and you're like spending hours at the bench and only making 10 minutes of film, if you forget to turn the camera off, the battery goes on you. And it doesn't go when you're not filming, it goes as soon as you start. It's sod's law, it's always the same. But there we go. So I've had to, because I've bent those back, they've also gone up. So I've had to sand them down to get a half decent line. Again, this is all going to be blended in and everything come the end. But we can see now that we've got something which more resembles the shape we're looking for. And as you can see here, as I push it in, it's nice, but as I leave it, it just pulls itself back out, which was the whole point of scribing it, to try and make it stand. If it comes out slightly, it's probably better to be slightly out than slightly in. But I think what we'll do is just concentrate on this upper section first, and then deal with this lower section afterwards. And this really is, you've really got to take your time and do this piece by piece, guys. So I think what I'm going to do is get some sprue goo down in the back there where I've scribed it, and I think what I'll do is grab my sprue goo, and I'm going to put some extra thin down there first, because that will penetrate where it's scribed. And then we can run a big dollop of sprue goo in there. And that will run down into that join. In fact, if I get some on a cocktail stick, I've been using this for super glue. If I get some on a cocktail stick, I should be able to get further down in. Yeah, we can. There we are. So we can get that down into that corner. And let that really set hard, and that will give us something to play with. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to see if I can pull that in with a clothes peg or something, so that the sprue goo dries in the right place. And I'm going to do the same on this side. Put some extra thin in first. That will penetrate down into that gap, and then we can grab our cocktail stick, plenty of sprue goo on there, just plaster it in there. And there we go, wipe it off the top. Okay, and then top back on that. We'll put this to one side, get the sprue goo off our fingers, and we can put this back on with the tape, turn it over, and then tweezers, lift the tape, grab the pin, slide the pin in. There we go, she's gone through. Just like so, grab that pin. That one can go in as well. There we are. So now that can all dry in the correct position. As I say, I'd rather have it slightly out than slightly in. But straight away already you can see how much better the shape looks when you look down on the top of it. Remember before it was all coming out, and it was all coming out you know, to here like this. You can see it's just, the shape is so much better already. So what I'm going to do is grab these bits of tape that we took off the bottom. Tape those back in like that to hold the sides in. So that'll keep those held in at the base. And then I'm going to grab some of the lovely orange tape. This one here, this is the Mr. Masking Tape High Adhesion, which is bloody brilliant stuff for assembly work. I wouldn't suggest it for masking on fragile paints or whatever, because it will just lift it all off. What we'll do there is just tape that like that, keep that together, and we'll tape that one like that, keep that together. And then I think what we'll do on the bottom here, we will grab a clothes peg, if we can, and sort of have that biting in. One of these plastic ones perhaps, because the sprue glue is bound to get in there. There you go, just leave that in that sort of position. In fact, what we can do is put some extra thin into that gap where we've cut it, and that will make that as one again. Okay, grab another peg, peg that in place. That's much better, isn't it? That's good. And then again, extra thin in that crack and down into that cut that we made. And as you can see, what we've done, that little fillet we took out, we've actually, let's move this peg up higher if I can. There we go, that's better. And that should all cure beautifully. And there we go. So there we are, guys. Once again, we're going to be leaving this to dry, and then I'll be back with you in a few days.